Hello, all you hardcores out there. How are you doing? It's Russ here from Poker's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. We say the things on here that nobody dares say, and I suppose you could say I am still the biggest gob in sport. I'm joined today by Liam from Rotherham, Brinsworth. How are you doing, Liam?
Yeah, I'm all right, pal.
I used to live up your way when I was 20-year-old opposite the Atlas, up on that hill.
All right. Yeah,
Uh,
it's gone now, Atlas.
Yeah, yeah. There's a cricket club up there, and the house that I lived in, it wasn't my house. I was just renting a room up there. I worked at Park Gate at the time for a window company, but they had a balcony and over the you drove underneath the house kind of thing. Do you
All
know?
right.
I forgot the road it well. I'm going back a long, long time ago, but yeah, back in the days it was Stay Bright Windows I used to work for. I'm going back, 36 year, 5 year, long time ago. Atlas gone, hasn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's gone. Yeah, it's flats now.
I used to go down it. I used to walk it downhill to the. There was a place that rented VHS videos back then.
All right.
They were like
Going
going,
back a bit then.
yeah. Well, I don't. You're obviously I'm a lot older than you, but back then when you went into like a video shop, you'd be like, "Wow, you were spoilt for choice. This is, in the days before Sky. Do you know what I mean, kind of thing."
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I was a kid, I remember being 9 or 10, and where I grew up, there were a video shop at End at Lane, and we spent most of the time in there. Never rented anything. Just looked at all different films.
It'd take you 2 hours to pick one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's going back. That's the old Brinsworth days for Big P when he were a Rotherham lad. Uh, okay. Dave Allen's got the fight with Johnny Fisher Jr. What do you think?
Yeah, a win for Dave. A stoppage win for Dave, I think.
Yeah,
It's got to be. It can't go to points, can it? We've already seen
yeah. Who do you think won the first one?
Dave.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think he's played a blinder getting this one?
Yeah, but I also think Eddie Hills has played a blinder, dragging it out.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel that they were nudged into it after Liam Cameron and Ben Whittaker signed?
Yeah, it's funny that it happened. What were it? 10 days, 2 weeks after that was signed.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it happened, and it got signed. And it's a fight I'm looking forward to actually.
yeah. Can a case be made for, I suppose, David Allen, I know him, he lived on the same street as me. My cousin's daughter lived above him, actually. Do you think that, and they actually went to school, actually, David and him, they went to school at Ayfield, didn't they, over Finningley? So, and it's strange when you go to school over that way and then you end up living in the same like block, 22 mile away. But
Yeah,
do you think a case can be made to say that Dave don't? People are saying he deserves a payday, but does he deserve a payday for taking beatings? Because he's not won a belt and he's more or less famous for being on social media and taking fights he shouldn't have really been in and weren't ready for. Do you feel he could have been better? He'd have been better off staying with Dennis and developing instead of jumping in. And do you think that a lot of people have not got blood on their hands, but he could have really come unstuck? Because like fighting Luis Ortiz, two-time Olympian, southpaw, big, massive, massive, freakish puncher, number one by WBA, an interim champion. I know belt not online, but do you think he should have been in fights like that?
no, I understand where Dave was coming from at the time. A young man, a big opportunity. Um, I don't understand why he'd signed the contract, but I can't understand why the board and Eddie Hills would let that fight even happen. I mean, they were a young, really, really young novice going in
Yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
one
Don't
of the
forget
biggest
he won
punches in the
10
world.
amateur fights, didn't he, Liam?
Yeah, yeah. So in boxing terms, a complete novice
Yeah.
getting in with Dillian White and Ortiz, who at the time were one of the biggest, scariest punchers about, weren't they?
Well, they signed him, didn't they, to keep Joshua away from him, didn't they, Matchroom? And what they did, they signed him and then just stuck him nowhere because he didn't do tickets. He couldn't speak English. He just signed him and parked him up. But yet they put the Rhino in with him, and on the same night they put Joshua in with Molina when it should have really been Dave against Molina and Joshua against Ortiz. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think if that had happened, David have had a bit of a better career regarding wins, and Joshua would have never been heard of again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you think, looking at it in hindsight, that Dave's very fortunate to get another big payday? Because considering he's never won a belt in boxing, and there's a lot of kids that have won belts and are still out there trying to get defenses and trying to get opportunities. And Dave's more or less talked his way into it through social media and not ability. Do you think that's how boxing's going at the moment? Whereas, I mean, look at Johnny Fisher. He's a millionaire now. I'm not saying in money, but in property and actual wealth. Johnny Fisher Jr. is a millionaire. He's only got an area belt. Dave's going to get another big payday. He ain't won a belt. Both social media popular. Maybe because of Johnny Fisher's dad pushing him all and all that, and he's on TV in Australia and all that, bigging him up and eating Chinese meals and that, and doing daft stuff. Do you feel that that sets a bad example for the next generation of boxers coming through?
Yeah, I do because why is Johnny Fisher so famous? Can you name me another area level boxer from UK with that kind of money and following?
Yeah, yeah.
For no reason, really.
When I look at his career, his best win's Alan Babick.
Yep.
Right. And if you want to know, people are talking about levels. Now, his dad is the first to complain to YouTube about me, John Fisher Sr. Oh, yeah, you've been complaining about my channel, haven't you, John Fisher Sr.? Yep. But I'm not really bothered about that. But point I want to make is John Fisher Sr. is the first to defend little Johnny. Now, everybody in boxing knows that David Allen won that first fight. David Allen might say he's unsure because he wants to play the game. He's got mouths to feed. He knows David in his art of arts. He flogged that kid. It was just like a sparring session for him. Now, they're not the money is with Fisher because he's propping shows up and he's needed. But does that make it right? What's gone on?
No, they'll. And if he does beat Dave Allen in his next fight, I want to see who they're putting him in with after that and see how much money. I think this Dave Allen rematch is a cash out
Yeah,
now already.
Okay then. Look, well, they're saying they've got big things planned for him and he wins the British title. Let's have a look at the British landscape. David Adelaide, right, is English level. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
He failed at British. He's still got his English belt, has he?
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Right. So whether he has or he hasn't, he's English level, David Adelaide. Does he beat Johnny Fisher, yes or no?
Yeah, handily as well. Couple of rounds.
Absolutely lights him up. I saw David Adelaide spar Hughie Fury before the Pulev fight, and he were an amateur then. He absolutely lights Johnny Fisher up, puts him on bottom moon. Does David Adelaide beat David Allen?
Currently, on past performances and lifestyle choices, you'd have to say yeah.
Right. So David Allen and Johnny Fisher then, they're not English level, they're area level then, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. So how are they splitting that kind of dough, life-changing money? Because of social media. Do we both agree with that?
Yeah.
So what does that say for people like Dalton Smith then and Hughie Fury, who are very skillful and very talented, but they don't want to shout their mouths off on social media?
Yeah, it's a bad example for boxing.
There you go.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not how good you are, it's how loud you are, and if you can live that celebrity lifestyle, sell a few tickets, you're gonna get looked after.
Right. So we both agree then that Dave Allen's worked his ticket. Whatever However, he's reinvented himself. He's always reinvented himself. Oh, I've had a drink problem. Oh, I've had a gambling problem. Oh, I've had a food problem. Oh, I'm wearing Carrymores. There's a story behind everything. He's basically played a blinder, David Allen, hasn't he?
I think so. I think people fell in love with his personality and stuff. Um, but as I was saying, I've known him since amateur days. I haven't seen him for a couple of years actually, but he is a really talented kid. It frustrates me when people say that he's rubbish and he can't fight. He's really, really talented, but
He has got ability, but he doesn't apply himself, does he?
that's it. That's exactly it, and it's frustrating.
Where did you train with Dave at? Which amateur place?
I used to do a little bit of training at Plantworks ABC, Doncaster Plantworks ABC. I never boxed out of there, but I used to do a bit of sparring down there when Dave were there.
Ken Blood.
Yep.
He's dead him now.
Yeah. I think it was quite a while ago, weren't it? 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Yeah, he worked for probation service, you know when you didn't do your community service.
Yep.
They used to send him out, didn't they? He came out to my house when I was 19. I had I think it was about a 3-year-old Capri one. At last one's ever made. It were a white, diamond white Capri laser and 1.6 laser. I only had about 28 on clock when I bought it, 28,000. And I wrote it off, and it were on drive with polythene on the side of it, and he came out, and my mum went out and spoke to him and said, "Oh, his head's in bits. He won't get out of bed, this and that." And he said, "Well, look, just keep nudging that. I understand he's a young lad and blah blah blah, but there's going to be a warrant out for him in the next couple of days for if he doesn't turn up and do his hours. Because I just sacked him off. I got 240 hours. I'm not doing them. What Roswell Wood digging ditches or Wadhurst Cemetery with a strimmer going around all graves and that done me head in, it did, but." Anyway, I actually went in and did the hours, and they said you're very lucky. But he actually were all right with me, and he were all for young lads turning their lives around. That's what I remember about Ken Bloodham. I don't know if you know who Pete Bell is. Have you heard of Pete Bell?
Yeah, the name rings a bell. I don't think I've
Well,
met him though.
he's dead. He's dead now. If people want to go on my channel and just type in Porky's Corner, Pete Bell. Pete Bell came to Dennis's office, Dennis Hobson's, and said, "I've got a kid here, Dennis, uh, and he is absolutely fantastic, and he's called Jamie McDonnell, and I want you to have a look at him." And Dennis signed Jamie McDonnell. He went 13-0, British Commonwealth, European, and a world champion. And Pete Bell was the head gym screw at Lindome. And
All right, okay.
so I know Pete Bell from obviously doing my sentences there, and I was there when he died. Me and Dennis were there when he. Well, obviously it were a couple of days before. We were there on his deathbed, and he's a lovely fella, Pete Bell, and I got to be good friends with his daughter. She works in prison service. She's a nice lady as well, and he'll be sorely missed. But Pete Bell was the guy who put Dennis and Jamie McDonnell together. So it's a small world, isn't it? And him and Ken Blood, they were like old schoolers, at that age, and really nice fellas, and they were all for people turning their lives around. So them two will be sadly missed. But
Yeah,
yeah, you went to
definitely.
Plant with Ken Blood, didn't you? And he was all right, Ken Blood, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a lovely bloke. Very quiet, very in the background. In the
Yeah.
background, never said too much. Yeah, he
Never
was really
took a
nice,
penny.
really nice
Never took
bloke.
a penny out of boxing. There's too many people in amateur boxing that they have money in that, and they're supposed to just stop off for fish and chips for everybody and look after the lads and all that. And Ken Blood never took a dime, unlike other people who run amateur clubs and milk it to death. And I mean milk it to death. And you know you are, and I know you're listening, you lot. He never took a penny, Ken Blood, out of boxing, and neither did Pete Bell. They put in. You know what I mean? But too many at the moment who are doing these amateurs are trying to take. Well, they never took. So I just want to get that
No, they
out.
don't make trainers like that anymore.
No, they don't. They don't. I remember him telling me about what I don't a guy from Denby. I think it was Kev Plant, who trained at the plant. Isn't that crazy? Well, he was from Denby, Kev Plant, and I remember him telling Kevin about because he were going to do something up at Ingle Gym, and he was saying to him, "Look, this is what you've got to remember when you're going up there. You know, they're just the movers. You know, they dance about and they stick it to you, and then they get on the bike, and you've got to do this cut ring off and all that." He was a really passionate bloke, and that, you know, while we were doing our hours.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well,
Kept him talking for ages, you know. Do you know why? Because it were better than doing any graft.
yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, we had a young lad that we did a bit of training with, me and my dad, and we took him there to he boxed out of Donny Plant. And all I remember at that time were the sparring. There's some really, really good kids, and the sparring were absolutely fantastic. You'd pay to watch it.
Yeah.
A lot better than other amateur gyms where they're doing technical spars and just jabbing for 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Them spars were like fights.
Yeah. Well, he
Yeah,
was
brilliant.
a good guy, him, Kent Blood, and so was Pete Bell, lovely fella. Okay, so we got David Allen to win the rematch against Elmer Fudd, then, yeah.
Yeah, I really hope so. I want the best for Dave, and I think a big win, a big payday. Yeah, I really hope he does it. I really, really do.
Okay. Just a quick message to all you Porky's Corner followers. If you feel like sticking it to Daddy Fudd, feel free. He's been telling tales about Porky's Corner to YouTube. So feel free to stick it to him because you're not allowed to say anything about little Elmer. Oh no, little area level Elmer. But it is what it is. Right, Usyk and Parker. Do you feel that Bricktop's trying to maneuver two of his fighters into that for a vacant belt, Parker against one of his others, and force Usyk's hand? Do you think so? He can have Usyk Duban in one fight, and Parker against one of his other guys, maybe a Tomei or Joyce as another one, or so Bricktop's got a hold on that belt. What do you think? Because the WBA have said they've got to negotiate now in the next 30 days.
Yeah, it's perfect for Bricktop. He's got 2 bites at cherry, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Either way you look at it, so he's going to be still having a heavyweight belt for next 6 months to a year, no matter who's got it. Sorry, yeah. If Parker fights Usyk, he's got a bite at cherry there. If Usyk beats him, which I think he would, he's got Dubois can fight him, which is another bite at cherry. So yeah, he's going to be held onto a belt, isn't he?
Why didn't they just rearrange the Dubois Parker fight? Let Parker have a payday, flatten Bacoli, and just rearrange Dubois Parker. It's not rocket science, is it?
Dubois has got a bigger offer somewhere, I think, or
he's serving a silent.
Or he's serving a silent. We'll see. We'll see if we see anything of him for the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay. Lee Wood's come out and he's defending Mauricio Lara, saying he's not a drug cheat. Why is Lee Wood and Josh Warrington not screaming blue murder to say we want our losses against Lara down as no contest? You know, like Eddie Hills was screaming for Devin Haney's loss against Garcia to be a no contest, and he got it. So why is Sean O'Hagan not saying, Josh needs it as a no contest. Josh, his stepson, Josh Warrington. Why is he not screaming that? And why is Lee Wood not screaming Lara's a cheat? Why is there this silence? A bit like this Dennis McCann carry on. Nobody wants to talk about it, do they?
No, it's funny that Conor Benn failed a drug test, and that's all I've heard for the last 3 years. Dennis McCann fails one. I've not heard a story since the news broke.
Nobody dares say about a Bricktop fight today. They ought to lose access or get a legal letter. Everybody's scared to death, but they went after Crusher Ben, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah, I think the reason that Lee Wood and Josh Warrington haven't said anything is because maybe they're not so innocent themselves.
Well, there's something not right about this, isn't there, Liam? What do you think?
Well, if you look at the date that Lee Wood's fighting on, his next fight, and look at the date from his last fight, it's almost exactly to the day 17 months.
Yeah.
So if he popped dirty a month before that fight, that'd make it 18 months to almost a day. I think it's within a day or two.
Yeah. And it's strange
something's not right.
But with these, we're not saying Lee Wood's a drug cheat, but you know, fighters in the peaks who go missing. You know, these fighters They're going missing over the peak year. Do you know when a fighter's at his peak and then he don't fight for months and months and months and months, 2.5 year? Why is that? And what's going on? Why do they keep making fights and then they keep cancelling? And you know, I can understand Johnny Fisher pulling out at Dave Allen fight, probably because he'd be shitting his pants. But some of these others, you know, some of these guys at the top of the game in the peak years, they're just going missing, aren't they? And it's smelly, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Felix Cash were blasting for everybody. He disappeared for what was that? 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah.
Lee Wood, another one. There's quite. To be fair, if you have a look around British scene, there's quite a lot of people that get to a good position and just disappear.
Yeah. It's
So
crazy.
yeah, so there's something going off, definitely.
Okay. Do you want to go on to part two, Liam?
Yeah, I'll be there in a sec.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. We're joined by Liam from Rotherham. Women love him, men want to be him. See you on part two. Pop, pop, bang.